When was the last time you felt enough? Not because you achieved something, not because someone praised you, but simply because you existed. If you can't remember, this video will show you why. There's a silent habit destroying your sense of worth, and you probably don't even notice it. It's called comparison. And by the end of this video, you'll see exactly how it's been stealing your peace. Let me ask you something. When you compare yourself to someone else, how does it make you feel? What kind of thoughts arise? What do you start believing about yourself? Does it add to your worth, or does it take something away? Most people never stop to ask this. They scroll, they compare, they feel less, and they move on. But the damage stays. The feeling of not enough stays, and slowly it becomes their default. So let's pause here. Let's actually look at what comparison does to you, not in theory, in your real life. Think about this. Have you ever seen someone do something well and immediately felt worse about yourself? Not inspired, not motivated, just less. You saw their success and suddenly your efforts felt small. Have you ever seen someone's income and felt ashamed of your own? Even though yesterday you were fine, even though nothing about your life changed. Just one comparison and your worth dropped. Have you ever looked at someone younger, more attractive, more fit, and felt like you were falling behind? Like time is running out, like you're not enough anymore. Have you ever scrolled through social media, seen someone's perfect relationship, and felt empty about your own? Even though your relationship is real, even though theirs is just a highlight reel. One photo, one story, and suddenly your love feels less. This is what comparison does. It takes your ordinary moments and measures them against someone else's best moments. And you always lose. Not because you're less, but because the game is rigged. You're comparing your behind the scenes to their highlight reel, and no one wins that game. Let's go deeper. If you're an artist, how often do you compare your work to others? How often do you feel like your art isn't good enough? If you're a student, how often do you compare your grades to your classmates and feel stupid, incapable, unworthy? If you're in business, how often do you check what others are doing? Not to learn, but to measure yourself, to see if you're ahead or behind. If you're a parent, how often do you compare your child to other children? Their behavior, their achievements, their talents. And when they fall short, how often do you feel like you failed? Worse, how often do you pressure your child to perform so that you can feel worthy? Think about that. Are you passing your own insecurity to the next generation? If you go to the gym, how often do you compare your body to others and feel like you don't belong, like you're being judged, like you're not enough to be there? If you're in a relationship, how often do you compare the words your partner says to the words you see others receive online? How often do you compare your vacations, your home, your furniture to what others have? And how often does your worth rise or fall based on the result? This is the trap. Your value becomes a moving target. It depends on who you're looking at. It depends on what they have. It depends on things outside of you. And that means you're never stable. You're never at peace. You're never enough. But here's something most people don't talk about. Comparison works both ways. Sometimes you look up and feel less, but sometimes you look down and feel superior. You compare yourself to people who have less, who achieved less, who struggle more, and suddenly you feel better about yourself. But this is just as dangerous, because now your worth depends on staying above others. You stop growing, you stop improving, you just protect your position. And deep down, you know it's fragile. One person passes you, and your worth collapses again. Whether you compare up or down, you lose, because your worth was never meant to be measured against others. So what's the answer? It's not to compare yourself to a better group. It's not to stop looking at social media. It's not to pretend others don't exist. The answer is deeper. The answer is to understand one truth. Your worth was never tied to comparison. You are not more valuable when you're ahead. You are not less valuable when you're behind. You are not more worthy when you succeed. You are not less worthy when you fail. Your worth is not a ranking. It's not a leaderboard. It's not a competition. Your worth is inherent. It was given to you before you did anything, before you earned anything, before you proved anything. And no comparison can add to it, and no comparison can take it away. The moment you understand this, the game ends. You stop measuring, you stop competing, you stop running. And for the first time, you rest. Not because you're ahead, but because the race was never real. So here's my invitation to you. The next time you catch yourself comparing, pause. Ask yourself, what am I really looking for? Validation? Worth? Proof that I'm enough? And then remind yourself, you don't need proof. You never did. You are not your achievements. You are not your failures. You are not your position. You are something far more permanent. And that something doesn't change with comparison. At moment zero, we don't teach you how to become worthy. We remind you that you always were. If this message resonated, subscribe. Not for content, but for reminders. Reminders of who you really are. I'll see you in the next one.